Hey guys, and welcome to a new video. Today I want to give you guys the follow-up video to my theory crafting the Voidforge, Slayer, Low Life, Omniscience, Frenzy, Endurance Charge, Stacking, Petrified Blood, Prognosis, Explo Flask kind of build, you know? And I've assembled it now, and it actually pretty much performs better than I expected, and I think it works actually pretty flawless. I've been grinding maps and just hit like level 95. So despite the fact that I have like 2,000 life or 1,800 once we are hitting low life, it is pretty tanky even though we're wearing an Abyssus. And the reason for that is we are using a Determination, and with the flasks up we're having like over 30,000 armor and 9 endurance charges, which is a flat like 34% physical damage mitigation, so we are like very resistant to physical damage hits. So Abyssus doesn't really hurt us, despite, as I said, the fact that we have like a sub 2,000 life. But overall, the thing is, I would say as of right now, I think I'm have to ditch the build for now, just because this is like well over my budget to gear a character like that, and I just have to say how it is. Mainly because the majority of the currency I spent on this double corrupted Voidforge and this max frenzy charge ring, and the rest is pretty much I wouldn't say budget, but there is like so much more room for improvement. It kind of feels like, let's say you're driving a Citroen car, but you have like a Ferrari steering wheel and the Lamborghini wheels, you know, and the Bugatti tires and stuff, you know, like it feels right, but also wrong at the same time. And just thinking about how much more currency I have to invest to reach, like, it is already a blasting build. Mapping is super fun. I've done the Sanctum. I've literally killed the end boss of the Sanctum in like 3 or 4 seconds. It's actually pretty good, but I just think this build has like so much more potential when geared further, and this is just the fact that I just don't have the currency right now. I think like I have 10 divines or 20 divines or something like that. But yeah, but still, I'm gonna give you the current PUB and show you a map showcase on what you could expect if you would make a build like that. So I would say we run my typical farming strategy, which is just like Alken Go, Crimson Temples with an Atlas passive tree that I just made yesterday, I think, which is pretty much based around the grand design, going back to like strong boxes, shrines, and guardian. So basically what I'm doing is just getting a shit ton of like guardian maps that sell like for quite a bit. Also like I got double cortex today, some other rewritten distant memories. So just blocking out every single league mechanic because I don't care. And what grand design basically does is your maps have 1% increased pack size per allocated notable passive on your Atlas passive tree. And the notable is these medium nodes. So this is keystones, these are notables, and these are the nodes. So they don't do anything, but the big ones, or the medium ones, they are actually giving you pack size. So with doing like blocking every passive tree, we're gonna get like a pretty nice amount of pack size, as well as these ones. If you want to go even further, you would actually disable the stream of consciousness and go something like growing a horde, which gives you even more pack size based on which scarab. So you could basically just go into your scarab tab and just use like all these like low tier, not worth anything like Nico scarabs, you know, and just like punch up the pack size even further. Good. Overall, this build is, in my opinion, pretty fast. So all we're gonna do is just kill the first couple of monsters, and we're gonna get our 10 challenger charges that we yoinked with the Forbidden Flame Flash combination from the Gladiator. So we are actually pretty fast when it comes to that. As I said, I personally think it's quite tanky. Or at least, it's not like a main tank build where you can just stand everywhere, but I think as long as you don't get one-shotted with the Slayer Overleech and the increased effect of Leech and whatnot, it just feels pretty cool to play. Especially since I'm playing with the Shrine buffs. Second. Sheesh, my Sanctum run ended, but it's fine. But yeah, once you steal like these, what is it? The acceleration shrine, it's going even crazier. And I'm thinking like, yo, if you add a Mage Blood with a Silver Flask, that is now basically can stack, right? Or not stack, but they made a change to the Onslaught Flask. So the Silver Flask gave you Onslaught. Onslaught is a pretty much set buff, which gives you like 20% increased attack, move, and cast speed. But now it actually scales with the flask effect. So if you would get a mage blood and get like a silver flask with a 75% increased effect or 70%, no, it's actually more, because with the prefix 25, so it's like 95% increased effect. So your onslaught is pretty much the raider style, like 40%, plus a quicksilver, plus challenger charges. I think you can get up to like a pretty ridiculous amounts of movement speed, so just like a feels good moment. There is also like a divergent cyclone where you basically have 5% more movement speed. But for this build, I decided to actually stack quite heavily into melee strike range. So you see here the passive sword mastery, we have +3 melee strike range. We also took the strike range nodes, I think on the left side over here. There's also +3 strike range. I did use this one, and also like 2 flat and then another 4 if there is enemies nearby. But these just don't give a lot of damage, and since I'm a low life build, we're using Bloodthirst support, I decided to instead move away with those 4 points and just get more life nodes on everywhere, because more life equals more flat physical damage equals more damage overall on the build. And as of right now, I'm actually having around about 10 million Shaper DPS with everything up. And I think for only having, I think like 1500 Omniscience, that's pretty good, because I know there is a couple of Omniscience build out there. They do like, or what do they have, like 2,500 Omniscience, so it can get even crazier. But in the end of the day, we still have to get a bunch of other things going, right? So I would say let's do the Minotaur run. You can basically just left click and yeah, I mean pretty much a Cyclone playstyle. Then there is something else that I actually opted in, which I think is pretty good. Let me see, duplicated. I think this one is fine. Another thing that I added here is Immortal Call on left click. I think this is pretty good in this thing. So as I said, or as I explained on the first theory crafting video, if you are having a less duration support on the item that has aspect of the cat, it will lower the duration of your aspect. So they're gonna switch faster, right? And what does that mean? If they switch faster, we're gonna recover all of our friends in endurance charges as soon as we get the cat's agility or stealth, you know? When you gain cat agility. So once you get agility, you're gonna get maximum frenzy and endurance charges back. So we're gonna use a less duration and a swift affliction, and we're gonna get the buffs down, I think, to 3 and 1.5 seconds. So this is like 1.5, and this is like 3, or 3 and 2 seconds. So every 5 seconds or 4 seconds, I think it's even less. It just looks a bit weird. Yeah, probably 3 seconds. We're gonna get our maximum endurance charges back. So if we use Immortal Con on our left click, we're gonna soak up. See, instantly, we're gonna get our charges back. We dropped to 4, but like literally a second or 2 seconds later, we're back to 9. So having Immortal Call on left click is also like a lot of like damage taking less, basically, right? And not only that, there is multiple mechanics that we have that lets us have less damage taken, because a lot of people have like this misconception, in my opinion, that they think life equals survivability, you know? And if they see a build, oh, MBX, you have 1,900 life, how the hell are you even surviving anything? You should be dead if just a monster looks at you, right? And it makes sense in that case if you think that life is your only source of defense. But honestly, the more tankiness you have, the more defensive layers, the less alterations, the less you actually need when it comes... Wait, did I just... No, wait. There is like one freaking alter modifier that actually kills my build, which is, I think like 10%... It is this. Is it? Did I just hit the only fucking note? Yep. This is... Okay, this is unfortunate. There is an alter note that says player gains... 10% reduced recovery rate of life, mana, and energy shield per endurance charge. And having like 9 endurance charges pretty much means I cannot leech, I cannot recover, so I actually have to open a new map. Which is kind of unfortunate. It is this one misclick, dude. This one misclick. So we're just gonna take the next Minotaur with more monster life. Maybe not focus too much on the altar, so we're gonna get the map showcase going. But hey, it happens. It actually happens. So what was I saying? So yeah, about the less damage taken. First of all, we are running, or at least I'm running on my Voidforge. I'm running Fortify support. What Fortify does is basically lets you take less damage from hits. And we're playing with Secrets of Suffering, so we have alternate ailments, so that means we cannot like inflict ignites, shock, or freezes anymore, but we do Brittle, Sap, and Scorch, which I explained in the last video already. And Sap is actually a debuff to the enemy that lets them deal like 20% less damage. So this with Fortify, plus endurance charges and all these kind of things, we're just taking a lot less damage. As I said, it's not like that this build is deathless by any means, but I wouldn't say, you know, just because it has 1900 life, it's like super squishy. On top of that, we're playing Petrified Blood with the new Progenesis or Progenis Flask or whatever it's called. Means as long as we don't get one-shotted, we should be able to recover or stay alive based on our Slayer Overleech. So let me actually speed forward here and kill the boss, and hopefully drop a mirror on the way. I think it's about time. It's my 21st league, 21st league, 21st, 21st I think. It's a 21st league without a mirror drop. So GGG, if you're watching this, please check my account. I think something is bugged. I think something is actually bricked on this one. But hey, anyways. Oh, Acceleration Shrine, let's go. This is what I'm talking about. So hold down your left click and just enjoy, and the map is done.
My spirit is spent.
This is actually a bit sad. So let's let him charge. We go Blood Stance, we got put down our totems and hopefully not get one-shotted by this stupid thingy. Okay, there we go, he's dead. As you see, single target wise, we're still having quite a bunch. As I said, 10 million DPS, but there is just so much more that you can get. I'm missing, for example, I'm not stun immune, I'm not ailment immune, I'm not, what do you say, I have mana problems based since I'm running a 6-link setup here, and also mark on hit with Assassin's Mark. And this procs quite frequently, but it also has like a pretty high mana cost, which is like 79. So, wait. Does it actually mean that I'm currently not even proccing... Yo, skill issue detected. Okay, so we're probably just gonna put away our war banner so we have enough mana. Okay, we should have actually more damage because there was no Assassin's Mark, I think. But anyways, so with this entire gearing, where do I see is the next upgrade? Where do I see is the next problem kind of thingy? And this is, I think, all resistance. So basically, what I need to do is getting a bunch of, like, as you know, Omniscience scales with... like the crystallized omniscience scales with your stats. So you want to have like stuff like this one with all flat stats, and all the flat stats will get you Ally Res as well as Ally Pen. So what happens right now, I bought this belt for like 30 chaos or something just to get some more omniscience going, but the problem is I'm just not getting res cap because I'm not having enough omniscience. This is basically if we put this one has like fire res. If you have a very decent omniscience build, you shouldn't need resistance, because every resistance could be more stats, and more stats is also resistant but is also damage. So in that case, I would need to recraft, I think, yeah, that's pretty much it. I need to recraft or get a better belt, probably even a Stygian wise at this point, and just put in a bunch of abyss jewels that I have over here. For example, life, physical damage to attacks, flat physical damage to swords. You know, these kind of things scale pretty well, and I think I have one on my tree right now that has even accuracy on top of it. So that is pretty good. But as you see, if I have all of that equipped, I'm not res capped, not even close, right? So these boots do not have any resistance, so we're getting to like 30, 20, 30. So I'm literally forced to play with something like a String of Servitude with all resistance to actually get me capped. Don't forget, one big plus here is as soon as we have the cat's agility active, and we're gonna get our endurance charges, we're actually gonna get a bunch of all resistance as well, right? But I'm just saying, at the moment, I need to craft resistance on my gear to get res capped, but if I would have the currency to make some end game items for omniscience with like double or even triple stats, and sadly I did the ring, but the other things have to be crafted, then I don't need the resistance and I can get even more stats. So I think it's way better if you have the currency and you build your omniscience build right away to fix your resistance based on how much stats you have. Another thing that I think will be a major part in this build based on the gearing aspect is cluster jewels. So as of right now, I do not use any 21 corrupted gems. So even my my Cyclone here is level 2020. And it would be a shame if this one gets 21 now. F. Okay, could have been. But so, in this build right now, in this version, no corrupted gems besides this one now. So no 21-20 gems. No awakened gems. There is no enlightens, no empowers. There is, as I said, we're not ailment immune. And we don't even have cluster jewels for now. The only thing that I'm using here is the Secrets of Suffering. But in a best case scenario, you would ditch the left side and you would ditch some of the right side here. And go like at least maybe one large cluster with double medium. And this could be Magnifier with Towering Threat medium. So we're gonna get even more AoE and more life equals more damage. And the usual physical cluster with like, I don't know, like what you use for other fist builds, I think master the fundamentals and stuff. I need to check. But there is still a lot of things missing. I still don't have a Watcher's Eye, even though I'm not really sure which kind of Watcher's Eye this could be. I mean, we're running Precision, we're running Determination, so probably something like attack speed, multiplier with Precision, maybe attack damage or Determination, less damage taken from critical strikes would be pretty nice, because a lot of people underestimate how strong this stat actually is. And then there is still the question, I think this is something, if you have your character completely geared up, like super endgame, do you actually want to skill up here, take the Frenetic and anoint the Utmost Intellect? Because, hey, it is a lot of Omniscience. We have 8% increased Omniscience as well as 40 Intelligence, which is also 40 Omniscience, right? So it is pretty tricky, and I would say, does this build make sense? I would say if you have the currency, definitely. I think this would be the end game of endgame melee builds, more or less. And it is a plug-and-play build. It's not like purely Cyclone. It's just my decision to go Cyclone. I also tried out Val Flicker Strike, and only for one map, and I still regret playing that because my eyes are still like a little bit shaky just because of one single map, especially when you press this Val Flicker Strike, and it's better just close your eyes and just wait like 2 seconds and then open and be like, oh, there is loot on the floor, right? It's just not my type of playstyle, basically. But yeah, so if you would like to play a build like that, what is, in my opinion, necessary here, right? The Voidforge, obviously, this is, the build is built around Voidforge, right? I think an Abyssus doesn't really matter. I mean, this is like a budget item, like who cares, you know? But it's more about the expensive items. So a Voidforge, then if you want to go the route that I picked with the Slayer, with the Masterful Form, then obviously a Replica Pharaoh's 4. So these two, I would say, are mandatory. If you build Omniscience, I think this would be something you would do endgame. Because I think Omniscience version with the Voidforge has like a better synergy and has better endgame scaling if you have the currency for it. I think if you run a lower budget, like let's say 50 Divines or something, I would just straight up kick the Omniscience out of the build for now and take like any good amulet with crit multi, I don't know, maybe even influenced with like mana reservation efficiency, flat physical damage, very, very important. You basically want to try to get flat physical damage on every single item, even on this one, but I sadly didn't hit the right mod yet with the Veiled Chaos Orb, but you definitely want to get that, right? And the Explosive Flask, I think for Cyclone, it's so good, man. This flask is actually brutally good. I can see you don't have to play this is just some random flask, you know, but it's just hard, you know, like, because a lot of melee builds, or especially when you build it like that, you don't have a form of Explo, you know, you run Voidforge, so no Explodey weapon or something, you run Replica Pharaoh, so no Explodey chest, so you don't have Explos, right? But honestly, playing Cyclone with this flask, dude, sometimes I just, you know, tap one single monster and like the entire screen disappears, you know? And this is just the beauty of explosions, and almost every single build has it, but melee builds, pretty much. I mean, you can make like an Explodey weapon or an Explodey chest, but if you want to play something like this combination, you just don't have the explosions, right? But this flask, it is so good. And it also like has a pretty good effect with the Omniscience, because it is like exploding as a random element, and hey, we're having like a shit ton of Ellie pen on top of that, right? So these explosions are just dealing massive amounts of damage. A similar thing with like the Voidforge. If you stack pure physical, okay, and this is just a thing that I want to mention here. If you mouse over your Cyclone, you shouldn't see any damage, okay? So usually you would see like a 500 DPS or whatever, and on the text you would see 70 to 100 cold damage, for example, right? I can actually demonstrate that by just... let me quickly remove some notes here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me remove my life notes over here and take the cold mastery. So I do have like cold damage now, increased cold damage, but it still doesn't show any cold damage because we're not converting anything. If I take the physical to cold mastery, now you see on the tooltip that we actually have like 20,000 damage, right? And it says 1,000 to 1,700 cold damage. You do not want to have this. You do not want to have any form of physical as extra or conversion or anything. In the best case scenario, what you want to reach is as soon as you think you're fine, just mouse over your cyclone and be like, is there any cold damage? Is there any damage? No, there is not. Because you're running a physical weapon and it says deal no non-elemental damage. No physical and no chaos, right? So even an Atziri's Promise Flask, for example, wouldn't do anything because we cannot deal anything else but elemental. But what this enables us is the use case of the elemental equilibrium, which says hits deal elemental damage, remove exposure, blah blah blah. So that means the Voidforge will always alternate with every hit. It's a chance 1 in 3 which element it's gonna pick, fire, lightning, or cold, right? But it's not, I think, as far as I know, it never gonna pick the same one twice. So it's not like fire, fire, fire. It's just like, it can go fire, cold, fire, cold, fire, cold, because this is still like an alternating element. But we still, as soon as we hit cold, we lower the lightning and fire portion. So if the next hit is lightning, it's gonna deal even more damage because we have the exposure for it. So there is like a lot of entire synergies between the Voidforge, the Omniscience, the LD Equilibrium, running no conversion over here. And I think overall it's just a freaking amazing build, and I feel like that it's kind of wasted if I played right now, just because I would really love to finish it, but I could easily stick another 500 divines into this build, starting to craft or buy insanely good bases, you know, synthesized bases. I've heard somebody found a triple implicit like attribute stacking build. This could just go for a mirror the base, but you know, with Omniscience and those kind of things, or stat stacking in general, is just, you know, sky's the limit. How much currency do you have? Because you need probably 5 times more if you want to min-max, like, or make a godlike stat stacking build, and Omniscience is one of those. Alright guys, I think that's it for the build right now. I'm gonna do something different now, which I haven't decided yet, so I cannot really spoil or something, because otherwise you guys are gonna ruin the market again. Not fun. Alright guys, thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.